여러분 반갑습니다. I'm Kwon So-wa and this is K-Culture Dive. Join us in exploring everything in Korean culture, from K-entertainment to AI news, K-culture on site, and we'll be joined by jazz composer Maria Schneider, today's Hallyu People guest. And with that, let's dive in. Joining us this Wednesday is my co-host Walter Lee. Walter, happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, Soa, and hello to everyone watching today. I'm Walter Lee, here to co-host alongside Soa and bring you the latest in K-entertainment stories.
All right, Walter, before we kick off, let me ask you, how are you dealing with the heat wave these days?
Let's just say I'm happy to be in the aircon studio.
Same here. But today, we're actually going to have our reporter Seong report from a very hot place. However, she is also cooling herself off a little bit there. So as we approach the end of July, heat waves and tropical nights are becoming more common. And with that, people are looking for fun ways to cool off. One of the hottest summer destinations is right in the heart of the city. Today, our reporter Yoon Se-young takes us to one of Seoul's favorite summer escapes. Hello, Se-young.
Hi, Soa and Walter. It's another hot and humid summer day here in Seoul. It's almost impossible to stay dry and cool, but I guess you guys are going to be a little jealous of me because today I'm spending a day at Ttukseom Hangang Park outdoor swimming pool. And just look around me. You'll see a lot of families, friends, couples, and even visitors from around the world gathered here together to beat the summer heat. And these huge, giant pools located right beside Hangang River. Hangang River has much deeper meaning for especially Seoul residents. It's not just a regular river. It's a place where people come to exercise, enjoy various activities, or just to relax after work. And according to seasons, the way people enjoy Hangang River also changes. And in summer, it becomes one of the coolest summer hot spots for residents and visitors as well. And here you will hear the laughter and splashing behind me. And one of the best part of this place is the convenience. You don't have to travel far for hours and hours. You don't have to leave the city. You can just simply hop on the subway and come here to enjoy the day. And the price is very attractive too. The admission is only 5,000 won. For adults, that is about $3.4 US. And for children, it costs only 3,000 won. Making it one of the most affordable summer activities here in Seoul. And Ttukseom is one of the most popular outdoor swimming pools because it offers something for everyone, from lazy river to separate places for adults, children, and toddlers as well. So, to hear more about what it feels like to spend a day here, let me speak with one of the visitors. Hello.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Okay. So, what has been the most exciting part of the day?
I think the most exciting part of the day was just spending the time here. The location is really, really nice. It's actually impressive to have such a nice park with so many activities available right in the middle of the city and with such a clear view of the river and everything. I think the entire experience is the most exciting part overall.
All right. Then, would you recommend this place to your friends or families in France? I heard you're from France, right?
Exactly. I would totally recommend anybody who wants to go to Seoul and experience something kind of like outside the city, but still like staying within Seoul itself. I think I would definitely recommend it. Yeah, especially with the heat.
All right. Thank you so much for your participation, and stay cool and enjoy.
Thank you.
All right, it's easy to see why people keep coming back, but before you jump in, there are a few things you should know. Swim cap is a must, but don't worry, just a regular base for cap works fine too. And every 45 minutes, there is a scheduled break, so all the swimmers in the pools will be asked to come out for 15 minutes to help keep the facilities safe and clean for everyone. And after spending hours in the water, you probably will get hungry, starving, right? But delivery food is prohibited and not allowed. but not to worry because there are a lot of food trucks, snack bars and convenience stores, and even a place where you can boil the famous Hangang ramyeon, so you can enjoy a fantastic meal by the river with your loved ones. And some people even return after dark because this place opens until 10 p.m. so you can enjoy swimming while watching beautiful sunsets. So if you're looking for a uniquely Korean way to experience the summer, I guess this might be a perfect place. And Soa and Walter is getting hotter and hotter, so I've gotta go swimming, so I'll have to wrap it up here. Reporting live from Ttukseom Hangang Park Outdoor Swimming Pool, I'm Yoon Se-young, and back to you, Soa.
Thank you very much, Seong, for that report and all those great tips. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon. And back here in the studio, let's get our daily dose of K-Enter News with Walter. Walter, let's start with HYBE news and news on how big the agency has grown.
Indeed. So on Tuesday, HYBE announced record-breaking second quarter results for 2026, posting 1.45 trillion Korean won, or around $996 million in revenue, and over 170 billion Korean won, or around $117 million in operating profit. Now, it marked the first time the company has surpassed 1 trillion won in quarterly revenue and 100 billion won in operating profit. Now, to break down some of the revenue, concerts generated almost half of it, with around a quarter coming from album sales and a quarter from merchandise and licensing. Now, of course, BTS World Tour has delivered a substantial economic boost to every city on its itinerary, inspiring the term BTSnomics. Now, groups such as BTS, Cortez, Tomorrow by Together, ENHYPEN, LE SSERAFIM, Islet, and Cat's Eye were just some of the names that contributed to the global success of HYBE.
Wow, and staying on the topic of Hallyu revenue, it's not just K-pop that's seeing plenty of interest.
Not at all. So K-Films spearheaded the recovery of South Korea's box office in the first half of 2026. According to the Korean Film Council's 2026 first half K-film industry report, total box office revenue reached $399 million from January to June. Now, this is up by almost 42% compared to last year's first half revenue. Now, as mentioned, domestically produced films are responsible for close to 64% of the box office revenue, one of the strongest figures since the end of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, the biggest hit of the first half was The King's Warden, or 왕과 사는 남자, which earned over $112 million, becoming the highest grossing film in Korean box office history. It was followed by Colony of Gunche, which grossed more than $41 million, and 살목지 Whispering Water, or just 살목지 in Korean, which generated almost $23 million.
And I can imagine that Hope is going to contribute to the second half of the year.
I imagine so.
Yes, and finally, a Spotify achievement made by a group that you mentioned earlier.
Yes, indeed I did. So according to Spotify, Cortez's debut album Track, Fashion, has surpassed 200 million cumulative streams, just over 10 months after its release last year. It marks the group's second song to reach the milestone, following Go, another track from their debut album. Now, Go actually holds the record as the fastest K-pop boy group song, which debuted within the past 5 years to reach 200 million Spotify streams. Now, Fashion was also co-written by the boys and draws inspiration from their shared passion for fashion.
Great rhyme there. And Walter, don't go anywhere.
Will not.
Stick around.
Will do.
All right, now let's go over to our AI anchor Arang for more on the culture front. Arang.
Thanks, Swa. Here's your AI guide to the latest cultural headlines from Korea. Let's begin with our top story. Korea Heritage Service Administrator Ha Min says the 48th session of the UNESCO World Heritage Committee, held in South Korea for the first time, was a meaningful occasion that reaffirmed the international community's shared commitment to protecting world heritage. He highlighted the adoption of the Busan Declaration on World Heritage, which emphasizes cross-border cooperation in safeguarding heritage sites. During this year's session, The committee inscribed 25 new cultural and natural heritage sites on the World Heritage List, including 4 additional Korean tidal flats. The session will officially conclude on Wednesday afternoon. South Korea's inbound tourism market is moving beyond recovery and entering a new phase of growth. Government data shows that more than 10.7 million foreign visitors traveled to Korea in the first half of the year, up 27% from the same period in 2019, before the COVID-19 pandemic. Visitor spending rose even more sharply. Foreign tourists spent a record 10.04 trillion won, or over $6.9 billion during the first 6 months of the year, about 2.6 times the level recorded in the first half of 2019. The Culture Ministry pledged continued policy support to sustain the strong growth momentum. Following author Hangang's historic Nobel Prize win, Korean literature is continuing to gain global recognition. According to the Literature Translation Institute of Korea, overseas sales of translated Korean books totaled about 1.2 million copies last year, setting a new record. Hangang's novel We Do Not Part led overseas sales, with about 300,000 copies sold across 13 countries since 2023. That's all from me. Turning now to a quick look at more K-culture stories making headlines today.
World-renowned American jazz composer, orchestra leader, and 7-time Grammy Award winner Maria Schneider is meeting Korean audiences for the very first time since making her debut. Renowned as one of the leading figures in contemporary jazz for her distinctive big band sound and richly expressive musical language, Schneider has redefined the possibilities of jazz composition over the past 3 decades. Today, we'll talk with her about the significance of her first performance in Korea, her musical philosophy, and the message she hopes jazz can bring to audiences. Welcome to the program, Ms. Schneider.
Thank
Hello,
you.
Ms. Schneider.
Thank you so much.
We are very honored to have you on the show. So first and foremost, you just came to Korea. I guess you arrived yesterday
Last
evening.
night,
Yes.
yeah.
So what's your first impression of Korea?
Well, when I opened the window this morning, the mountains around the city are so beautiful. It's a very unique landscape that way. And there was a fantastic breakfast at the Mercure Hotel. But beside that, I haven't done anything yet. But tomorrow I'm going to the Secret Garden and various places. So I can't wait.
Okay.
That sounds
lovely to hear that.
Quite exciting, and there's many places to obviously look around. Now, you're here for your very first Korean performance since your debut. Now, what can Korean audiences look forward to? And without spoilers, what do you have for this sort of preparation that you have organized for our viewers?
Well, I've tried to pick pieces that I know are fan favorites from over the years and things that represent different parts of my periods of writing. So some pieces are intense and dark, and other ones are beautiful and pastoral and joyous. So I'm trying to give the whole landscape, and I just hope that people a lot of my pieces have story and they take you to a place. So I just hope people will just get lost and just be taken away.
Okay. And you founded the Maria Schneider Orchestra in 1992.
Yeah,
so it's been
about
more than
then,
30
yeah.
years.
Yeah.
So could you please introduce us to the orchestra and what's so special about it?
Well, it's an 18-piece orchestra. If you look at it, it looks like a big band. You know, the 4 trumpets, 4 trombones, the saxophones, and the rhythm section. But I also have accordion, and I use a lot of mutes in the trumpets and trombones, and a lot of woodwinds like flute and clarinet. So I try to get the sound of an orchestra. So in moments, maybe it sounds like a big band, but more often it has the nuance of an orchestra and sometimes even a small group. Sometimes it breaks down to just a couple of players, so it becomes very intimate. And it's a group that has extraordinary soloists and a great rhythm section. So they'll just hear the very best that you can hear in jazz improvisation.
That's very interesting because some of the regular music listeners might think more of jazz bands than jazz orchestras.
Yeah.
So there are, it looks like, very different sizes of bands and orchestras when it comes to jazz. And I guess the Maria Schneider Orchestra is one of the big-sized ones, right?
Yeah, it's 18 pieces, and I think I use the word orchestra simply because the word big band implies sort of traditional sounding music, you know, that people might think of it, that it's going to sound like Glenn Miller or something like that. And I want people to realize that this music, when you hear it, it feels orchestral, but it has all the hallmarks of jazz, the improvisation, the rhythm, you know, it carries that history, but it's got also, it would also appeal to people who like classical music or even people who like pop music because it has those influences too.
Wonderful.
Now, Ms. Schneider, correct me if I'm wrong, are you an avid bird watcher?
I am.
Yes.
Are you a bird watcher?
I do love watching my fair share of birds coming from Australia, but yes. Let's then talk about American Crow. Now, please tell us about the story and inspiration behind the album. Was being a bird watcher have anything to do with it?
Well, I grew up with crows. We had pet crows in my family. Crows that could talk even. And they actually, crows, so I know a lot about crows. They're very, they have very tight-knit communities. They're like people. They really care about their own and they care about community, but they're also very mischievous. They can misbehave and they're almost like pranksters. They steal things and the word American Crow, in English, you know, we use the word crow to brag. If you crow about something, you go on in a noisy way about something. And I think about Americans these days and all the political arguments and anger. And so I use that word American Crow also to be about how we are with one another and how we've lost the ability to listen. And the thing about jazz is that's the most essential thing is it's a listening art. That an improviser, when they play, they don't just play everything they've practiced, but they play a little something and they listen and respond. And the beauty of that is that they end up playing something they wouldn't find on their own. They find something unique in themselves in the presence of other people. And so I look at that sometimes and I say, wow, what an example for democracy and for society if people would only listen to each other and not always come in with all the answers, but come in vulnerable and ready with questions.
That actually brings us to one of the questions that we have prepared, right?
Yeah, like since you talked about listening and how passionate it should be, you often said that listening is one of the most important qualities for great jazz musicians, but I guess for most musicians around the world as well. Why do you believe that listening is such an essential value?
In music or as in society?
In the way you interpret
Both,
it.
yeah.
In both, because listening is what allows you to become something different than what you already know. If I listen to you, I learn something about you that maybe makes me think differently. And I think this is the problem that we have today, is that we are all in our own curated echo chambers. You know, where the way algorithms work, they feed on our anger, and so we're all in these kind of echo chambers of rage, and we get to the point where we don't even want to hear the other person because we think, oh, you're really unreasonable, and so the idea of listening is maybe if I listen to you, I can find out that maybe you and I agree about more than we disagree. And maybe you think this and I think that, but if we come together and we listen, we say, well, we agree about this. So what do you think if I tell you what I'm thinking about that and I listen to you? Maybe we can come part way together and make something beautiful that represents all of us. That's the world I would like to see us move towards. I think we used to be in a world more like that, and that's what I see every night on stage with my musicians, and so that's what inspired me to write that piece.
Wow. And I really feel because we are such a fast-paced world these days, it's becoming more and more difficult to listen. And speaking of a fast-paced world, the music industry has also been evolving over the past decades. So we've got streaming platforms, which we talk about a lot in our K-Enter segment, and also people, don't buy physical albums that much as in the past. So what does this mean for the jazz industry, and also how did you adapt to those changes?
Yes, I was listening what you were saying in the last segment about these eye-popping numbers from K-pop, and it's really amazing. But in the world of jazz, we have such a smaller niche audience. So it's really difficult to take your music when sometimes you're making records. For mine, they can cost, I spent on a couple of my records $250,000 for a small audience. So I do try to sell directly to fans. And I find a lot of people do still buy CDs. I make very beautiful packages, so somehow it feels attractive to people. But I also sell things as downloads. But I find that the important thing for me is creating relationships with my fans, so that they want to purchase the music from me. They're not just buying the music, but they're learning about what I do. And so that's how I've been doing it for the last years, and it's been working well. I still can manage to pay for my records, but if I just put my records up on Spotify alone, I could never, there's just not enough. There's so much music. All the music in the world practically is on these streaming sites. And when everybody's paying $9.99 a month in dollars or nothing, there's no way for people to be paid what they should be paid to pay for the recording of a record. So it's very difficult these days.
I understand. And Ms. Schneider, we really have to mention this. You are a 7-time Grammy Award winner, and you were nominated, I think, 14 times.
Maybe,
so, so I mean, you're widely recognized as one of the leading jazz musicians, composers in the world. So what has been the driving force behind your creativity, may I ask?
The driving force for me is just loving making music that feels personal, but in the end also makes other people relate to it. That feeling of creating a piece that when I'm conducting it, it takes me back to some place in my childhood, but then somebody comes up after the concert and says, oh, that felt like my home. Or I cried when I heard that piece. It just, I don't know, I related to it. That is the driving force for me. The Grammys and everything, that was frosting, something I never expected. I will tell you, I never expected actually to have a career. I thought, when I was young, I was a truck stop waitress in Minnesota. I thought, I can always be a waitress, I can always make money, but I want to make music. And I'll just make money another way if I need to make music. The fact that all of this has come to me is kind of shocking, because I never went after that career. So I'm very fortunate, I'm lucky.
And now you've had a more than 3 decades-long career in this field. Wow.
It's hard to imagine this all happened. And now I'm in Seoul, Korea. Yay!
Yes.
Well, you know what they say, luck is preparation versus opportunity. So you obviously have a massive passion, and it shows when you speak. I mean, I'm so envious of your passion. But you talked a little bit about your big band ensemble before, and how it has, there's subtle beauty to it. There's also obviously large poppy kind of things as well. But what aspects of the upcoming performance do you most hope Koreans will take away or pay attention to from this experience?
That they can listen to jazz and get lost in the music. Forget about their lives, the stress of life, not be worried about that text that's coming in on the phone, but that they just bathe in the music and the experience of these great musicians, and watching the musicians enjoy each other on stage and feeling a part of that. That's that's what I hope people take away.
And Ms. Schneider, a final question for you. What value and meaning do you think music is bringing to society these days? And also, would you have a final message to your fans in Korea?
Well, I think live music is something so important because, again, it makes us shut off all these things that keep us separate from each other. You know, ultimately, the promise of that phone and social media was to bring us together. I think we've all learned by now that people feel more isolated than they ever have. Music, especially live music, it brings us together. It brings us together enjoying something together, but also puts us inside of ourselves in a beautiful way. So I'm hoping that's what these audiences will feel, that they'll come and say, wow, this was a joy to be here with this audience, with this band, and I'm so glad I came. That's what I hope.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Schneider, for joining us today on the show. It actually felt like music listening to you. I think Walter would agree with me on that.
Definitely. As I said, I absolutely admire your passion and your love for the music industry.
Thank you.
All right. With that, thank you very much. We wish you the best with the concert in Korea and have a wonderful stay while you're here.
Thank you so much. It's a joy to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Walter. As always, we're going to have you back here later this week.
Okay.
Thanks for watching and your interest in everything K-culture. Please tune in again tomorrow, 2 p.m. Korea time. Keep diving.